Patrick. It's great to have you here. Friends, for the next little while, we want to have a conversation with a cross-section of our party members and leaders, and we're going to hear some new ideas and learn a little bit about what it means to be a proud Conservative in 2016. Now, it's my pleasure to kick off what we're calling Back to Blue, a panel on the Conservative future. And to be my co-host, I'm so pleased to welcome to the stage a longtime friend and a giant, he's not that big, a giant of the Conservative movement, Mr. Stockwell Day. Yay! How are you doing? See, he's not that big.
I don't know if I'm a giant, but I do know something, Rona, and I think the crowd will agree with this, and I don't want to embarrass you to make this statement. Giant or not, you, madame, are a rock star.
Aw, thank you.
You so are. And I know you've been very awkward with people asking you the leadership question. I know what that's like. I know what that's like. I had the question myself just last night. People were asking me, "Are you going to run?" And I said to both of them, I said, Mom, Grandma. I talked to Val, and she said, "You go ahead and run, but it will involve a very expensive divorce lawyer." So
yes.
That's kind of, so I know the pressure you're under.
Yeah, well,
but I think you had more than 2 people asking you.
That's a compliment. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for that awkward moment.
I knew you'd like that.
Oh.
Okay, we're going to go ahead. We got somebody said last night, and you may have said it, Rona, because you say amazing things, but people were talking about the bench strength of this government.
Amazing.
And we're going to get a chance to see some of the team members to do with this fabulous bench strength.
Yeah, so without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, first off, she is kicking Bill Morneau's butt in the House of Commons, fighting for lower taxes and balanced budget. Please welcome Lisa Raitt.
All right. Have a seat. Ladies and gentlemen, this individual was known as the Minister of Everything. And now that he has more time on his hands, I heard he just signed up onto harmony.com. And let's welcome from the Fighting Irish, Jason Kenney. I was kidding about the harmony.com. Right?
Well, you may know the next guy is a member of Parliament, but we know him as DJ Tory Tony and the rock and guitar player from the Dock Spiders. Please welcome Tony Clement.
All right, Tony. Ladies and gentlemen, this next woman was an entrepreneur and has been an entrepreneur since about the age of 12 when she launched her first business, and she is still out there fighting for small business and for business people and working people across the country. Let's hear it for Rachel Harder.
Our next participant is a dynamite woman from this area, and she's also the first Asian woman to be in a Canadian cabinet in our history. Please welcome Alice Wong.
Mesdames, Messieurs, ce gentilhomme-ci, pendant les élections générales passées, personnellement, il a cogné plus que 20 000 portes.
Oui.
He knocked on over 20,000 doors, and guess what? Of those 20,000 doors, 15,000 people came out and voted for him. Let's hear it for Alupa Clark.
Our next participant fought hard to end the gun registry, and now she's fighting to have pipelines built all across this country. Please welcome Candice Bergen.
All right.
Now, our next participant did five tours in Afghanistan. He's a radiologist, and he loves precision shooting. Please welcome Dr. Dan Lindsay.
Le prochain gentilhomme, pendant qu'il était notre lieutenant dans la belle province nous avons gagné le plus grand nombre de sièges dans la province de Québec avec notre parti, le Parti conservateur. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Monsieur Denis Lebel.
She's a rookie member of Parliament, and the National Post just called her one of the rising stars in the House of Commons. Please welcome Karen Vecchio.
All right, Karen. Ladies and gentlemen, this next gentleman has obviously made a name for himself in his constituency, and he's doing that in question period. He is shining, he's a star, and he's done that without elbowing anybody. Give it up for Gérard Deltel.
Our next participant is a really shy guy. He keeps his opinions to himself, so let's make him feel comfortable. Mr. Kevin O'Leary. You need a mic too. Okay. Well, so ladies and gentlemen, for the next hour or so, we're going to be asking participants a series of questions, some of them lighthearted, some of them serious, about themselves, about politics, and the future of the Conservative Party. And we might even ask a few questions of the audience. And we have some questions from special guests. So please pay attention. We're going to start each segment with a question directed at a couple of our participants, and then we'll open it up for a short discussion.
Okay, here's the first audience question. As you know, any political person, past or present, we live on polling. So I want to know by show of hands, this is not a trick question. How many people here are 30 years of age and younger? Would you please put up your hand? Wow, all over the audience, great. Sir, you didn't hear my question, or else turn up your hearing aid there. Other than that, we're all good. All right, we got a huge number of people here, 30 or under. Of those of you who just raised your hands, how many of you are on Facebook? Put your hand up. Whoa, okay. How many on Twitter? All right. How many on Instagram? Yeah, I got some of your pictures last night, great. And how about Snapchat? Okay, that's pretty impressive. Rana, over to you.
Now over to our leaders up here. How many of you are on Facebook? How many of you are on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat? Oh, there you go. All right. Very interesting.
Okay, we're going to start off here, and we got a video question. Special guest, one of our former Prime Minister's top advisors. Watch.
Hey everybody, so I obviously voted Conservative last election. So how in the future do we convince young people the Conservative Party policies and principles are best for them?
Great question.
Okay, we're going to ask our leaders. We're going to go to Tony Clement. I'll hand the mic. You guys can share it. Tony, Rachel, and then Alupa.
Thank you, Rana. Ben, great question. The first thing we should do is congratulate ourselves because we have the highest content of youth at a convention for the Conservative Party of Canada right now. Right now. So that's a good start. But we got to keep going. And it's what we say and how we say it. How we say it, we have to use all of the means of communication available today, including all of the social media devices that were just mentioned, to talk to young people, millennials, whatever term you want to use, on the platforms that they use. 71% of millennials use Snapchat as their primary social media platform. So we have to get ahead of the game, not behind the game. And then, of course, it's all about content. C'est important d'avoir les idées pour l'avenir, pour toutes les générations, mais pour les millennials aussi. C'est important d'avoir et de parler de liberté, to talk about freedom, to talk about how government is draining their opportunity and their ability to innovate and their ability to work. And when we talk about freedom, when we talk about economic freedom, we talk about freedom from the nanny state. I guarantee you, we will make inroads from the people who want to see a lighter hand on government and who want to have the freedom of choice that should go in an adult, free, and democratic society that is in Canada. Thank you.
Bravo!
All right, great question.
Over to Rachel. Rachel's only 28, and she's actually managing our youth portfolio. in our caucus, doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. Yes?
Yep.
Oh, sorry. All right. I will build on that just a moment here. I think social media is absolutely critical going forward for us as a party. But the way that we use social media is important in terms of our messaging. We stand for tremendous values as Conservatives. We have a history that we should be proud of. We have established many, many, many things for this country, and we stand proudly on our record. Going forward, the way that we message the pride in our record needs to be in the form of value statements. So we need to talk about the fact that we value your freedom, we value your individuality, we value your innovation, we value your creativity, and as the Conservative Party of Canada, we will make space for you. We will champion you to have those opportunities that you deserve going forward. In addition to that, I believe that it's in the context of relationship. Relationship, relationship, relationship. And so we need to be reaching our hands out to as many individuals as possible, youth across this country, and building relationship, enforcing the fact that they are, in fact, our present and our future as a nation.
Wow.
Bravo. Alupa.
Est-ce que les jeunes conservateurs ici aujourd'hui, is there young conservative people here today? We want to hear you. Ouais, moi, ce que je vais vous dire, what I will tell you is, en tant que jeune, j'ai été président de l'Association conservatrice de l'Université Laval. I was the president of the campus club in Laval University. And every 2 weeks, I was there with my kiosk. Tous les 2 semaines, j'étais avec mon kiosque, standing there in front of the people in a left-wing university. Not afraid, proud to be there and proud to be conservative. And that's my message to young people today. Aussi, une autre chose très importante, another thing very important would like to share with you today. Les jeunes, I think our party, we have to refine our discourse. Nous devons peaufiner notre discours, which is to talk more about the project of tomorrow. Parler plus des projets de demain. Puisque les jeunes sont jeunes, ils veulent bien savoir quelles sont nos politiques fiscales responsables, but they also want to know what's going to be there for them in 10, 20 years. And I think we have to start talking about dreaming for tomorrow. Merci beaucoup.
Couple more.
It is indeed my pleasure to appear before you as the former and also the longest-lasting Minister of State for Seniors, talking about juniors. And I mean, the success of all the campaigns, not complaints, actually depending very heavily on the involvement of my young volunteers, starting from even 13 and all the way to 23 or higher. So it is indeed a very important issue that we get them involved. So that is a success. So whether they speak English or they speak another language, I will probably comment more when we come to the communication, that they are part of the party, they're part of the building up Canada, then they will feel that this is the best experience they've ever had. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alice. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. This is my 6th convention as a Conservative. How many have been to 6 conventions already? This is, I think, the best ever. I'm so proud to be here. 2 things I think we need to do to keep young people involved. I think first and foremost, at our local EDA level, I'm not a believer in the pink book for women, and I'm not a believer in the sandbox for our young people. So I want our young people at the exact equal level, whether it's on our board, whether it's on the National Council, they have equal responsibility and they have equal rights. And I think that when we treat young people, women, minorities with the respect that they deserve as equals and not because of their differences or because of their special situation, we can encourage them to be here. On policy, we need to offer young people the things that have brought all of us here. I think I was pretty young when I got involved, and I got involved because I was frustrated with what the Liberals were doing. I was worried about my country, and I wanted to see change. And I think that when we offer young people real change, and I'm not using that term lightly, folks, I think that we will have young people who want to see a change in the next couple of years. And it's about policy that will help them find a job. I think we're going to have a real issue with young people finding work. We already do. We have young people who are graduating with degrees. They spent a lot of money on degrees and education, and there are no jobs for them. I think we need to talk to young people about being trained in the fields where there's work available. And I think that when we do that, then young people will listen to us, and we'll be able to continue to engage them.
Bravo,
Thanks
Candice.
very much. Merci.
Great. Well, let's hear it for these great answers. Everybody's going to get a chance at a variety of questions. We want you just to imagine with us. It's kind of a fun question, but it could be for real. We know that Justin Trudeau has said that the books will balance themselves, and the deficit's just going to wander away somewhere in the year 3000. So I want you to picture this. Let's just assume that the books don't balance themselves, that we have a runaway deficit, and we have to sell the Parliament buildings just to keep our credit rating. That means you got to move the capital city. Let's hear from our people,
this will be a tough
our folks
one.
up here. Where would you suggest, if we had to? So we don't want and for our friends in the media, and they're all here. This is not a proposal of the Conservative Party of Canada. Okay, we're just going to have fun with this. But to our folks up here, where would you suggest we move the capital of Canada if we had to?
Lisa. I know what she's
Everybody knows what I'm going to say. Exactly. Picking up on what was just said about the youth, I hail from a beautiful island. Do I have any other Cape Bretoners in the house? I have a few. I know that. And what do we know as Cape Bretoners? We know that the last 40 years of experimentation on social engineering has ended up with a situation where 75% of kids actually have to leave home to get to work somewhere else. And that's the sad part of what happens with Liberal policies. And we have a government right now that thinks big government will solve your problems. I am here to tell you today, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't solve your problems whatsoever. What we need is a plan for our youth to engage in and take responsibility and know that it's so much better to be paid by an employer than it is to be paid by your next door neighbor with their tax bill. That's what it comes down to. So, if this government right now wants to have the best make-work project for Cape Breton because they messed it up for the last 40 years, I do believe that not only should it be Cape Breton, it should be Whitney Pier, where I hail from, should absolutely have the capital of Canada, because if you want to make work, the best way to do it is by a bloated government source.
Wow.
When I hear the word capital, I think about money. That's all that matters to me. And I have looked at the upcoming federal budget in this country, and it is a disaster. It was dreamed up by three guys in a kitchen making spaghetti and throwing it at the fridge. This is going to be a mess. And the best way to measure its success is to shine the light of transparency and performance on it. And here's how we're going to do it. It's very simple. Tell Canadians to watch just three things. If you're a millennial, are you going to get a job in the next 36 months? Not a chance in hell. A third to a half of this budget is going to be wasted. Number two, will there be any wage inflation for all of us working in this country? No. You won't be making any more, yet we'll plunge ourselves another $100 billion in debt. And the one I think is going to be really interesting is the number one asset of Canadians, and the largest debt they have is their homes. I think, probably ill-timed for Mr. Trudeau, is the fact that it will stagnate in growth or even be down. Forcing the measurement and showing Canadians it's not working is the way to get them back into this party. That's how you do it. I love to focus on things you can measure. Trudeau's budget, Morneau's budget, is going to be a disaster for this country. Let's shine the light of performance and transparency on it. That's capital.
Bravo.
Hi, everybody. Now, how do you actually follow that? I'm just a girl from Sparta, and although Sparta only has 300 people, that's how I got at least 300 votes. I would say I am from the Elgin, Middlesex, London, where we have the City of St. Thomas and the St. Thomas Proud campaign, something I am totally overwhelmed with. It's absolutely fantastic. And St. Thomas, actually, is the last place that the United States flag flew in prior to us sending them back across the border. So I will put my thoughts, and let's get St. Thomas, Ontario, in southern Ontario, the province of Ontario and the beautiful capital of Canada. I think we should be doing it in St. Thomas, Ontario. And anyone from Southern Ontario, you've got the beaches, you've got the beautiful place, and you know, you can come and visit anytime. We bake pies there.
Bravo.
Bonjour tout le monde, mon nom est Denis Lebel. Je viens de la partie la plus indépendantiste du Québec. My name is Denis Lebel. I'm coming from the most independentist part of this part of the province of Quebec, and I'm a proud conservative. And Canada is my country, and Ottawa is my capital.
Oh.
But the most beautiful city of the country is Robertval, the city I've been mayor for. But no, I'm joking, I'm kidding, but I just want to say I'm proud to be conservative coming from Lac Saint-Jean, Quebec. We are a team, we're a family, we will continue to work together. We're having fun, but the future is great for us if we still work together. Thank you very much.
Right. Bravo, bravo. Jason, Edmonton.
Please, that's my point. Please don't move it to Alberta. How many Alberta Conservatives here? Speaking of capitals, in some ways, Alberta has been an important engine of the Canadian economy in the past 10 years especially, and in many important ways has been a capital of the Canadian Conservative movement. So many great people and ideas have come out of Alberta that have helped us nationally to embrace free enterprise, opportunity, wealth, and prosperity. So I just wanted to send one message about that. We Albertans need to work for Canada to unite in order to defeat the NDP in 2019. Yeah. So, to my Alberta colleagues here, let's make Alberta again the free enterprise capital of Canada by working together to defeat the socialists in 2019.
Yeah. Bravo, Jason. Okay, everybody, it's time for another audience question. Hands up. How many of you get more than 50% of your news on Facebook?
Wow. Okay.
There's a lot of people that get their news on Facebook. Now, we have to also talk about how we communicate our message, and the media has a lot to do with that. You know, come to think of the media, Stock, is it true that you get a paycheck from the CBC now? Traitor! Traitor! How can you call yourself a conservative? Stock works for the CBC now. I feel like I'm outing him publicly. Apologize.
Right, let me explain myself. Wait. I want to get out of here alive. Let me explain this. First of all.
This is called spin.
First of all, there are benefits for, yes, I do get a modest stipend for the weekly Power and
That's why
Politics
Justin
show.
Trudeau gave the CBC such a big boost.
Because of my demand.
In the
right.
budget.
Exactly, yeah. Power and Politics, 5:30 Eastern Time on Thursdays.
Oh!
7 o'clock in Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay,
it's
enough
a
of
great
that.
show, but I have to defend myself. I can see some, I'm losing friends on this because you've exposed this information. But look at it. I know that funding for the CBC is an issue and people are concerned about that. But look at it this way. You got a Tory on there now. You're getting value for your money.
That's true. Bravo. That's true.
And unlike all political parties in Canada, and I have been a member of a few of them, I can speak my mind freely in public. It's amazing. And I'm a proud member now of the Guild, of the Union Guild. So I am there with you on the issues
How did he get out here?
that are closest to your heart. Thank you very much. 5:30 Eastern Time, Thursday.
So, as any communications consultant will tell you, it's not the way you say it. It's not what you say. It's what they hear. That's what we always hear from communications consultants. So, how do we help Canadians hear our conservative message in 2019? That's the question for you guys. And we're going to start with Lisa Raitt, then go to Alice and Gerard.
It's not easy being one of the only GTA MPs who made it through. No, not applause, because I see my friends, my buddies, And I see the GTA caucus shrink down, and I miss them because they represented the views so well of their constituents. So our goal really has to be to win those votes back in 2019. And I do believe that we are on the right track, and I think all of my colleagues did the same things. I mean, we're very similar. We all were in the hockey rinks or soccer pitches or in the Loblaws or the Canadian Tire. We were part of our family fall fair shows. We did all the things that we were supposed to do. So how do we go ahead and communicate better? Well, we do things like we did today. We open our doors and have discussions in the public. We go to debates. We don't be afraid about talking about being conservatives. We don't be afraid about talking about things that matter to us, like balancing budgets, like living within your means, like being respectful to everybody in your community. I think it really does have to do with not just how to communicate, but frankly, that we do communicate. And we will get all the great people back in the GTA that we missed on this last time around because they deserve to be here. They made my community better. They made our country better. And I'm sure that my colleagues from other parts of the country would say the same thing.
Thank you. Alice.
Bonjour. Here I am again. 大家好。大家好。卡吉南。西卡人。你好. Again. So, how much do you understand? You don't. Because if I speak all these dialects and languages, and you never really understand what I'm saying, then you're hearing interesting things, because then somebody else will interpret that or translate that for you. So this is the message I want to pass to everybody. If you add all the cultural media outlets, including the readership, the number of listeners, and also those who watch cultural TV programs, if you add them up, the number of people who are listening to us the number is bigger than all the other media added together. So my message is that speak their language, something they understand, so that your message will not be misinterpreted, and then you're giving the opportunity to somebody else to explain to them their message, not our message. Thank you very much.
Bravo.
谢谢.
Well, you know, folks, I know some things about journalism, about communication. I've been a journalist for 20 years. And believe it or not, I even worked for CBC. So, Stockwell, you're not the only one who received a paycheck from CBC. I think there is also some other folks over here who receive some paycheck from CBC. Be welcome. So, yes, we can be conservative and we can be journalists too, but we must speak to journalists, we must speak to the people. And as Lisa said, I think we gave today, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, we have this tremendous opportunity to speak to people. And we're just doing that. Open door, talking to people, having press conference, answering all the questions. That's what we have to do. That's what we did in Quebec City with such a tremendous success. And I know what I'm talking about. I made plenty of interviews, plenty of debate, asking questions, going to radio and TV show, talking directly to the people. And you know one thing that I've learned as a journalist? If you want to lose a war, start a war against a journalist. You know why? Because he always owns the last word. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. Dan, before you start, I'm going to play a video because I think this is a good question for you. So, all right, all of you get out your crystal ball, but you're going to be the first one up. There's a special video that we're going to hear from Brian Pallister.
Hi, everybody. Best wishes for a great convention. In our last provincial election here in Manitoba, the top issue was integrity. Integrity is best defined as doing the things you say you'll do. Manitobans were very concerned that the previous administration had forgotten about doing the things they said they'd do, and integrity became the main issue in the election campaign. So I want to ask you, given the record of our current federal government, do you believe that in 2019, the key issue in the next federal election may be the issue of integrity? All the best for a great convention.
Thanks, Brian. Over to you, Dan. This is really about your crystal ball. So if it's not integrity, what are the big issues? What's the big question going to be in 2019?
I want to go back to the actually previous question.
What?
I do. I'm going to talk about that one, and I'm going to say I'm a proud Manitoban, and that was absolutely an unbelievable election in Manitoba because it helped change what we're going to do in the future because we can't have another 4 years. So Kevin and I are the only two non-parliamentarians that are out here, and I am here as a regular Canadian looking at the Conservative Party and saying this is where the future is. So I'll go back to the first question. I've got kids, I've got a grandchild, and when they look at their life and they look at what we have had, they want to have the same thing. They don't want to have debt. They want to be able to go to school. They want to be able to pay for their education. They have to have a future. And the debt that we're putting on right now is going to kill them. The taxes are going to end up taking away their future and their dreams. And so as a regular Canadian standing here as a Conservative and participating in this organization, I want to say it's absolutely wrong. Second question, I'll be really fast. In terms of the messaging, what I want to say is that I don't think we should overthink it, quite frankly. I think that what we need to do is we need to actually go out there and tell it like it is. Trying to put it into very small bites is saying that we don't have respect for Canadians. And the reality is Canadians are smart. They want the information. They understand what's going on out there. So I think that we need to just be proud and say these are the things that we believe in, and we will find that the vast majority of Canadians are with us as we go forward. With regard to, what was the last one? 2019.
What's going to be the big issue in 2019?
Well, I think it is integrity. You know, I come to this as a physician. I come to this as an individual who has looked actually at people, and there needs to be trust. Every day I go to work and I need to generate trust, and without that there isn't anything. And I think what Brian Pallister said is that you have to trust the people that are in charge. So I think, although I could talk about the economy, which is incredibly important, we could talk about healthcare, we can talk about foreign policy and national defense. Leadership is about courage and it is about integrity. And I think that probably the most important thing that we're going to be discussing in 4 years' time is who is going to be the leader. And it can't be Justin Trudeau. And that's why I'm standing on this stage.
Thanks, Dan.
First of all, let me say, Stock, since Rhonda brought up the CBC, I just want to say I'm on record that we have to liberate the CBC from taxpayer dollars. So, Stock, I'm privatizing you. Look, the next election is going to be one of the most critical elections in Canadian history. And we are going to have a dynamic team, including all of you. Nous sommes une partie de l'équipe conservateur canadienne. And we're going to have the right message on all of the issues that Canadians care about, including the economy, of course, but going beyond the economy, on security, on the environment, on poverty reduction. But what we will be facing is a contrast to the Liberal record. And let me say this, I know this already. We support the small business owner, they do not. We support the taxpayer, they do not. We support the single parent, they do not. We support the people who aspire to work a little harder to get ahead because they've come to this country, they want more for their kids and their grandkids, they do not. So let me tell you, friends, it's not only about what we are, and we will, in a positive way, with the right tone, have that distinction between what we believe is best for Canada and what they do not. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Tony. Jason, over to you.
When you want to talk about integrity, I cannot conceive of a more blatant expression of a lack of integrity than a government using its majority, abusing its majority, in order to rig the electoral system to its partisan advantage over the objections of every other party in the House of Commons and 3/4 of Canadians who demand a say on how we elect our representatives to our Parliament. I mean, seriously. Can you think of all of the headlines and accusations from the opposition and some of our friends in the media about Stephen Harper's government supposedly abusing its power by adopting laws that we promised in our election platform? The Liberals didn't promise a model for electoral reform. And whether it was British Columbia or Ontario or PEI, the United Kingdom or New Zealand, the tradition in our Westminster parliamentary democracies is the people get to decide how they choose their representatives. So if integrity is going to be the issue, then it should be a ballot question about how they are trying to create a permanent Liberal government by rigging the electoral system, and we will not let that happen, friends.
Bravo.
Mais, plus globalement, je serai d'accord avec Tony qu'il faut toujours que le Parti conservateur soit le parti d'opportunité. Quand on parle des jeunes Canadiens, le défi d'attirer les électeurs les plus jeunes, c'est la question centrale. Et comment on peut persuader les jeunes et tous les Canadiens, y compris les nouveaux Canadiens, que le Parti conservateur, c'est le parti, le mouvement, les idées d'opportunité. That has to be the question. You know, Margaret Thatcher inherited a failed welfare state and turned it into the economic engine of Europe by liberating the British economy, by speaking to the working men and women of Britain. And that has to be our challenge, to be the party of opportunity and the party of freedom. That's what we expressed by lowering the federal tax burden to its lowest level in 5 decades, but we can do so much more and beat these guys in 2019 as the party of opportunity.
Bravo. Thanks, Jason. Now, everybody, we're going to move to our last question, and it's a video, so we'll turn to the screens.
Hi, I'm Brett Wilson. I'm worried about the economy, and I'm worried about Canada. Now, Kevin O'Leary, you're on stage now. You'll remember me from Dragon's Den. I was the guy who found you as a tin man, devoid of heart, devoid of emotion. I've given you a little heart. You're now building on that to be the leader of the great Conservative Party of Canada. I'm going to challenge you and everyone at the table right now to answer the question, what will you do in 2019 to create jobs and to bolster the economy in Canada? Over to you.
All right, from a dragon to a shark. Over to you.
Great question. Thank you, Brett, for asking that, wherever you are in the ether in here. You know, if you think about what's happening in our country and why I'm motivated to even get on this stage now is I'm a Canadian resident, I'm a Canadian taxpayer, and I'm a proud Canadian that wants this country to be very competitive globally. That is our future. And when I look at the economic policy at the provincial level, particularly now in Alberta and Ontario, where I see incompetency, I see policy that actually scares away money for jobs, and I see an ever-ready tax bunny in Kathleen Wynne, who hasn't seen a tax she doesn't like and is killing that economy with an overburdened tax rate past 50%. It just pisses me off. And when I talk to young millennials that work for me, and I've got plenty of them, they're worried about their future. They may be the very first generation to live worse off than their parents did. They're concerned about their futures. If we want this to work, we have got to make this country competitive. If we want jobs, we've got to make it a place where people want to stay and work and build companies and businesses, lower tax rates, partner more with the private sector. You know, if we want to get 20,000 jobs, you can do that right now by not raising a dime from the government, by simply going to large institutional investors and tell them we can accelerate tax deductions in telco. I can get you 20,000 jobs in 24 months in this country and build out a new generation of digital connectivity and not spend a dime from the government. Now, why can't the government figure that out? Why can't they do that? The point is, that's how we'll measure 2019. It'll all be about jobs. Brett's right. This election is about young people's ability to live a better life than we have. We deserve to give it to them, not bury them in debt, which is about what's about to happen now.
Thanks, Kevin. Now, same question. Last participant, last answer goes to Candace, who's doing a great job pushing for pipelines. Speaking of the economy.
Thanks, Rhonda. Thanks. Listen, I think as Conservatives, we can be extremely proud of our record on the economy. And I know that looking forward, we're making decisions and talking about where do we need to change some of our policy. But I think in terms of keeping taxes low, no new taxes, keeping the budget balanced, and creating jobs, the way we created jobs in the last 10 years is the way we should continue to create jobs in the future. And that includes building pipelines. There's no federal taxpayers' dollars in pipelines. And let's be clear, folks, on our record. Under our government, we saw 4 major pipelines built, 2 of which went down to the U.S. Overall, 17 pipelines were built. And we approved Northern Gateway. The Conservative government and the Conservative cabinet approved Northern Gateway. It was then immediately killed by Justin Trudeau when he placed a moratorium on tanker traffic in British Columbia. So what a Conservative government, I think, should do, we should allow the regulator to do its job. We should allow Canadian oil, which is responsibly extracted, and Canadian pipelines, which are responsibly built, and move Canadian resources. We should allow that to be built right across the country. Yes, we should engage with First Nations. Yes, we should make sure every piece of infrastructure that's built is done in a responsible way. But we should be proud of our natural resources. We should be champions for our natural resources. We should see pipelines built and jobs created through private investment.
Bravo!
Woo! Thank you. Thank you all so much for listening to all of us. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks, you guys. Thank you. Once again, please thank our panelists. They did an awesome job. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.